Whoa, 50% off. Yes, please.
Excuse me.
Hey, budget.
What were you doing?
I was just considering,
You were going to spend money, weren't you?
yes, but,
Money hadn't properly budgeted.
well, it was on sale,
Oh,
so
that's funny. I heard about something that was on clearance.
What?
Your brain.
Okay, that seems a little hurtful.
I can't believe you would just abandon our perfect plan like this.
But you say I'm not allowed to budget for anything fun, so
Correct. Fun is expensive.
I mean, sometimes, but it's not like...
We agree. You get $5 to spend on one Starbucks coffee without whipped cream, and that's it.
But whipped cream is free, so...
I don't think I like your tone, young man. This conversation is over.
But...
Over.
For a lot of people, being on a budget has all the appeal of being under house arrest. Budgets are restrictive, filling your life with stress and anxiety and guilt, and eliminating any semblance of fun or freedom from your life. But I'm here to tell you that that is garbage. Budgets are cool. That wasn't in the script. But budgets like that, they don't work. But hey, think about this. Has your money ever made you feel stressed out or anxious? Have you ever been whammied by a big, unexpected expense? Have you ever felt guilty because you spent more on something than you thought you should? Have you ever gotten paid on Friday, only to find yourself broke again on Monday? If any of that sounds like you, then you need a budget, but not this kind. You need a budget that eliminates the stress of uncertainty, prepares you for the unexpected, actually works in real life, and gets you ahead. In other words, you need a budget that follows the 4 rules of YNAB. In this video, I'll be showing you how I implement these rules in the YNAB app, because it's awesome and it's literally designed to help you implement these rules. But you can apply them with a notebook and a pencil or an Excel spreadsheet if that's your vibe. So let's start with that first issue, stress. You don't know if you can afford that next bill, or maybe you just don't know where your money's actually going, so you're never quite sure that you have enough. That stress comes from uncertainty. And here at YNAB, our antidote to uncertainty is rule 1. Give every dollar a job. Decide what your money is going to do before you actually spend it. Think of a football team. Every player has a very specific job: passing, blocking, running, receiving. And because the team is organized and has a game plan, they're able to succeed. Now imagine you just threw a bunch of players onto the field and had them decide what positions they were going to play during the game. That's a losing strategy for a football team, but it's a strategy that a lot of us take with our money. We only decide what our money is going to do when we spend it. As a result, we find our money isn't actually serving our goals. If you figure out your game plan before you put dollars into play, then you're much more likely to align your spending with things you actually care about. For a lot of us, the closest thing we have to a plan is checking our bank account balance before we buy something. And hey, that's a lot better than nothing, but it's got some problems. For example, let's say you see a $600 guitar that you want to buy. You check your bank account and you've got $900. Great, you can afford it. Or can you? Don't you have that electric bill coming up? And last I checked, the fridge was looking pretty bare. Isn't your best friend's birthday this week? Oh man. Feel that? That's uncertainty, casting a fog of stress and anxiety over all your finances. So a lot of people then start a budget. They write down all the money they're planning to spend that month. That's a lot better than just checking your bank account. But it still has a problem. Let's go back to that guitar scenario again. Only this time you've written down in your budget that you plan to spend $600 on a guitar this month. When you find that guitar, you check your budget, you see that you plan to spend $600, and then you swipe your debit card, and you're declined. You check your bank account, and you've only got $400 in there. What? Your budget just lied to you. Stupid budget. But how can that be? You did all the math, and you knew that with your income this month, you'd be able to afford that guitar. So what gives? Maybe I get paid $2,000 every month, but I don't receive all that money at the beginning of the month. It gets split into 2 $1,000 paychecks. So I've got $1,000, but right away, a bunch of that is gonna go to my rent, and then a bunch more is gonna go to groceries and gas and other bills before I get my next paycheck. No money left for the guitar. That's why, here at YNAB, we have a revolutionary solution. Only budget the dollars you actually have. But Ben, I just looked at all the money I have and I can't pay for everything this month. But what am I supposed to do? That's okay. You don't need to pay everything right now. You just need to ask yourself, what does this money need to do before more money arrives? That one question brings a startling amount of clarity and confidence to your money situation. If your electric bill doesn't come due until your next paycheck, put it on the back burner until then. And if you get paid halfway through the month, then you don't need to budget all of your grocery money right now, just half of it. But your internet bill that's due this week, you better budget for that now. Now, if I'm thinking about buying that guitar, I can check my budget category with the confidence that I actually have those dollars, because I only budgeted dollars I actually had. And bonus, since I'm only budgeting dollars I actually have, I know I'm not accidentally stealing money from other categories. I can spend money on that guitar and still pay my electric bill and make my rent and put gas in the car. Boom! Uncertainty gone. What's nice about this method is that you can do it today. You don't have to wait for the beginning of a new month to start getting your money in line. You just have to ask yourself, what does the money I have right now need to do before more money arrives? If you're using YNAB, you can just enter your bank account with its balance and then assign those dollars to your highest priority jobs before your next paycheck. And then when you get that next paycheck, you do the same thing over again. This method works regardless of the regularity of your pay cycle. You can do this whether you're a 9-to-5 office worker or a Hollywood stunt double, because both people are having to deal with the dollars they have right now. Now, you may have more questions about how exactly to set up your first budget, and we've got a whole video specifically about walking you through that in YNAB. You can find that link in the description. Now, if I'm out on the town and want to spend some money, I can pull out the YNAB app and see exactly what I can afford with the dollars I have right now. Easy peasy. Now, you might say, well, that sounds great, but how is that supposed to help me with those gotcha expenses? I'm glad you asked. Let's talk about rule 2. Embrace your true expenses. True expenses are just those things that catch us off guard. You probably won't have a budget category called next Saturday's flat tire. And it's easy to forget to make a category for your car registration or your sister's birthday. But here's the thing. Just because an expense isn't monthly doesn't mean it isn't real. Let's say you could see into the future and you saw that your air conditioner was going to break 4 months from now. What would you do? My guess is that you'd start setting some money aside every month so that you're ready to pay that bill when it gets here. Or maybe you just fix it because you're handy, but I'm good with budgeting. I'm gonna stick with budgeting. Obviously, you can't see into the future, but it doesn't take a crystal ball to know that your stuff is gonna break or Christmas is gonna come or that your car registration will happen again this year. You know these things are gonna happen. Some of them, you just don't know when. Some of them happen a lot sooner than you thought. So do exactly what you would do if you did have a crystal ball. Start saving up for that expense now by setting aside some money for it each month. Now, a lot of true expenses aren't impossible to predict. They're just easy to forget, like holidays, car registration, annual fees, taxes, insurance. You want to make sure you're budgeting enough to save up for all those totals. You could do a bit of math yourself, or you could use YNAB's goal feature to do the math for you. More on that in the next video. The unpredictable stuff is a bit trickier, like how much should I save up for car maintenance? Some people will give you a precise number, but honestly, you're probably best guessing, and guessing high. You know your situation better than anyone. If you drive a beater with duct tape on the bumper, then you should probably put more into that car repairs category, and maybe start a car replacement category. But if you just got a brand new car, you probably don't have to fund it quite as aggressively. But you do still want to put some money in there because new cars do have a tendency to become old cars. And yeah, maybe you get into a wreck and you don't have as much car repair money as you'd like. But having $400 already saved for that specific purpose is infinitely better than having no money saved at all. So start embracing those true expenses and get off that financial roller coaster. Now, if you're like me, you might be feeling a tiny sense of dread right now. Because look, you've tried this budgeting thing in the past and you know how it goes. You create this perfect financial plan and then your life happens and you overspend in a category, so you feel guilty and you just want to give up. So you rent a movie, you buy a new board game, and you eat a gallon of ice cream straight from the carton to feel better. And now you've overspent on fun money and now you feel more guilty. So you get another board game and you eat more ice cream, you get another. Yeah, I wouldn't blame you for quitting budgeting at that point. But guess what? You're not the problem. It's this idea that your budget can never ever change. That's the problem. If your idea of a budget is these golden tablets that you have to perfectly stick to every month, then you're destined to fail. You don't know what's coming. I mean, look what happens to budgets that aren't flexible. And you know what else? Sometimes your priorities change. Time to bring in rule 3. Roll with the punches. Like we said before, we don't actually have time machines. We can't see into the future. Sure, some bills are constant and static, but others require us to guesstimate. Like I remember a few years ago, I'd budgeted $50 for a birthday gift for my wife. And then I found out the Kansas City Symphony was screening Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban with a live orchestra soundtrack, which just so happens to be Maddie's favorite movie and soundtrack. It was literally the perfect gift, but I didn't know about it when I was budgeting money into my gifts category. Now if I had, I would definitely have put aside the money needed for those tickets, but I didn't, so I didn't. So am I not gonna get my wife a gift that I can responsibly afford simply because I didn't have a time machine when I was budgeting? Wingardium Levy, no, son. My budget is supposed to align with my priorities. So if I get new information that legitimately changes my priorities, my budget should change too. That's right. It's okay to change your budget. I'll say it one more time for the people in the back. It's okay to change your budget. But if I'm allowed to change my budget, won't that make it a hodgepodge of chaos? Actually, no. Because if we've been following rule 1, then all of our dollars should already have jobs. Meaning that if you want to pay that overspending, hey, no, you get out of here. Shoo, yeesh. It means that if you want to pay for that overspending, you're going to need to reassign some of those dollars that already have jobs. Now, if you're used to thinking of your budget as golden tablets, then this may seem like a failure. But really, it's just a reflection of your changing priorities. You're not reaching into your bank account and yoinking out money willy-nilly. You're making a specific, targeted trade-off where you consider what's really most important to you. No, I'm not gonna miss a rent payment or eat rice and beans for these concert tickets, but I'm okay with skipping a night eating out if it means I get to take my wife to Hogwarts. I don't know why I'm so sassy about it. Reevaluating your priorities and making the appropriate trade-offs isn't reckless. It's actually responsible. When you change your budget, you might feel like a junior varsity budgeter, but you're actually training to become a pro. So take a deep breath and let your priorities guide you. All right, one more rule. When I worked as a bank teller, I used to get all these calls from people asking me, has my paycheck hit yet? I need it to make rent. And I could hear the stress in their voice through the phone. They were caught in the paycheck to paycheck cycle. Their paychecks were like snowflakes, seemingly melting away as soon as they arrived. Why? Who knows? Bills, loans, weekends, it doesn't really matter. Once a dollar hit their bank account, it didn't take long for it to waltz right out again. Now, how about you? If you had to guess, how long do you think it normally takes for a dollar to be spent after it arrives in your bank account? A week? A day? An hour? The shorter that gap, the more reliant you are on that next paycheck. And that's not great because what if that paycheck doesn't come? Or what if some other expense shows up all of a sudden? How are you gonna get ahead of your bills if you're constantly having to scrape through to payday? You need that money to stick around longer. Or, in YNAB terms, you need to age your money. What's neat about this rule is that it's basically just a product of the other 3. If you give every dollar a job, embrace your true expenses, and roll with the punches whenever your priorities change, then you're gonna find money sticking around in your bank account longer because you're actually spending less than you're earning. Your money is getting older. You're spending dollars that have sat in your bank account for 3 days or a week or 2 weeks, and this goes on until it happens. You get a paycheck and wait a second, everything for this month is already covered. What am I supposed to do with all this extra money? Classic problem, right? Well, you can take that money and put it towards next month's expenses. You can pay for your February rent with January's paycheck, like a time traveler who's decided to use their powers in a surprisingly mundane, but also fiscally responsible way. And once that happens, life changes. Every time you get a paycheck, you're looking ahead. Instead of focusing on what's right in front of you right this second, you're able to think about what do I want next month to look like? And if you do have an income change or a sudden expense pops up, you've got a whole month buffer to deal with that problem. Instead of your paycheck being like first aid, slapping a Band-Aid on whatever's currently hurting, your paycheck becomes a power-up, making an already strong budget stronger. If you're just starting budgeting, then we recommend that you shoot for aging your money at least 30 days. That means getting a full month ahead so that you're paying August's expenses with July's paychecks. If you're using YNAB, the app will actually help you track this, giving you a constant reminder of how much progress you're making. That may sound like it's far off, but if you follow those first 3 rules, you're gonna find your bank account looking less like a nursery of baby dollars and more like a Denny's at 4:30 p.m. on a Tuesday. Did I write that? Is that the analogy I chose? That's a weird analogy, Ben. And that's it. When you get paid, give every single one of those dollars a job in your budget. Make sure that you're planning ahead for your true expenses so that you're prepared for the unpredictable and the easily forgettable. Change your budget when your priorities change, seriously, and watch your money get older and older, leaving behind the paycheck to paycheck cycle. If you're just getting started, then this is gonna require a lot of practice. You're gonna be rolling with the punches a lot at first, and that's okay. This is a skill that will benefit you for the rest of your life. One that's gonna save you thousands of dollars, not to mention let you sleep better at night, fight less with your partner, build a bright future for yourself and your family, and a whole lot more. These rules are simple, and they work. So that's the method. Again, if you want to see how to actually set up a budget in YNAB, then you can click that link in the description where I'll actually walk you through the process. And if these rules sound good and you haven't given YNAB a shot yet, you can get a 34-day free trial to see if it works for you. Budgeting isn't about restriction. It's about taking back control of your money. All it takes to do that is 4 simple rules and a plan. Thanks for watching.